Hello! This is another 100 days of meditation update. I'm trying not to move too much so that the camera doesn't shake because, as you can see, I'm in my bed. I don't know what day of the 100-day meditation it is, but I'm going to keep going with this. So I don't know. Post your comments below. Let me know what you think, if I should just keep calling it 100 days of meditation, or even though 100 days will be up soon enough, I'm sure. Yeah, let me know what you think. So my mood has been a little bit low. Hormones, and I haven't been sleeping very well. And at first I felt like I wasn't sleeping very well because my mood was up and I was pretty high energy. And now, after the incident of violence the weekend before last, I've had fairly just lower energy, lower mood. It took a lot out of me. But I've been coping really well and challenging my thoughts, and a lot has kind of come to the surface that I want to share. So even though the excitement isn't there so much, I've managed to still be fairly mindful and conscious of what's going on most of the time, which is a vast improvement for me. And a few things that I'm noticing, I think I mentioned this in another video about letting go and about money. And, oh, there's so many thoughts I have in my head, and it's hard to sort them all out, but I'm going to do my best. Please bear with me. Money. I've heard it so many times that gurus and spiritual teachers say that the external circumstances will not impact your internal life that much. As an example, people who win the lottery or who become, let's say, in a wheelchair, both of those external circumstances, within a year, they go back to pretty much the baseline of where they were at before. Whether it's a really bad event or a really good event, either way, they come back to that middle ground. And that's all good in theory, and it's easy to understand intellectually, but until you really start living it from here, you don't get it, which is the frustration, because with my close friends whom I love dearly, like Chris or other people who are in my life, I can tell them what I'm learning, I can share books and teachers and all of this, but until they're in that place to understand that and to fully embody it, it's not going to make any sense. I started, where is it? I'm reaching into I've got this great bookshelf above my bed. I have the Untethered Soul here. This was gifted to me by a friend who is very well-to-do, very successful, and she gave me this book, I'm assuming because she loves me and wants the best for me, and she gave it to me about 2 years ago. I didn't read it until this week. I read the first chapter of it and I just never connected with it until now. So that tells you right there the level of receptivity. And I'm not saying that I've learned everything that I need to learn, but I'm just saying that I wasn't ready for this until I actually read it. And there are other books that I've read recently that I understood on a surface level years ago, and now I'm reading again and understanding at a completely different level. And I'm sure that when I read it again in a year or two, I will understand it even differently, even deeper than I currently do. On the one hand is really frustrating, but on the other hand, isn't it amazing? Anyway, so yeah, all of this stuff has just been quite a journey. And instead of working on manifesting success and manifesting love and creating wealth and abundance and all of those things that add to our experience, and I think it's arguable that we do need those things in our lives, because had I not had that amazing relationship with Chris, I wouldn't be the person I am now. And it really healed me in a lot of ways. But I had to have been at that level in order to accept that learning at the time, because I've had relationships with similar personality types in the past that were devastating and detrimental for both of us. So it was basically, I'm theorizing now because I don't really have all the answers, but I feel like at that moment in time, Chris and I were at that right spot for each other in order to just be exactly what we both needed at that time. And now I have outgrown that relationship, and I so want him to catch up with me and grow with me. And I'm having to let go of that. And it's difficult. It's a challenge. And all of these old patterns are coming up, and I'm able to observe them, and I'm able to handle them in slightly different ways than I might have in the past. Even if I find myself engaging in a behavior that I might have done in the past, like reaching out, I can be more conscious of, what is it that's going on here while I'm reaching out, noticing the triggers, noticing the urges. I was talking with a guy on online dating yesterday. This was interesting. So this guy is, I'd say he's a good looking guy and financially very successful. And I'm not quite sure how I feel about his attitude because we haven't actually spoken. So there's a couple of little vibey things that I'm getting that, if I am perceiving them correctly, we're probably not a match. But that's not important. What I noticed was when in conversation came up about how successful he was and the area he lives in and all of that, I had this feeling inside me, and I was like, oh, what is that? And I realized I was thinking that he wouldn't like me because I come from the wrong side of the tracks. I don't have a family that was successful. I don't have whatever it is that our society judges as, the perfect life. And so I felt, and even just talking about it now, I'm feeling this sensation kind of up in here and down here, this tightening. Zen would call it closing, as well as that's one of the terms they use in the Untethered Soul, is also closing of the heart. And then I realized, well, first of all, so that's probably where that feeling of I need to impress someone comes from, right? Because all of a sudden, if I hadn't become conscious of that sensation in my body, I might have felt compelled to try and impress this guy because I feel like there's something that I have to prove or some expectation he's going to have. And again, I don't even know if I'm interested in dating him or what, but it is really an experience and a lesson paying attention to what comes up in my body. And in order to even be in that place, I've had to come to where I am now. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago sitting in my therapist's office and her asking me, where do you feel that in your body? And I felt it up here because it was really, when you're about to cry, you can feel it. But beyond that, I wasn't aware of much else in my body. And I was all up in my head. So I was like, oh, I feel it here, but blah, 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 trying to articulate and pontificate and theorize, and all just in my mind, churning, and not any sense of real presence. Always thinking about the past or the future. Anyway, so this is a new level of awareness and consciousness and understanding for me. And I'm happy to say that even though my mood has changed, I'm not feeling as positive and optimistic, but I also noticed even while I was in that and making those videos of being excited, which was a great feeling to be excited, I also was aware how much I was in my head, and I've really been trying to calm back down into my body. And that's part of the thing that I'm working on right now in the Feminine Power course, is being present in the moment and really getting into my body and sensing what's going on. That's where I'm at. And, you know, one of the many things I'm getting out of this whole practice and this experience is that my emotions and my thoughts are going to change. I'm going to be in my pain body, as Eckhart Tolle would call it. I'm going to get PMS. I'm going to have days when I feel sad, when I feel grief, when I'm disappointed. But that doesn't have to change that my ability to be present. I can experience those emotions without being those emotions. So this is a little bit of a separation for me now, where I would get engulfed by the emotions. And so whatever I was thinking, whatever my view, whatever my thoughts or opinions or emotions at the time would skew my perception of what was possible for me. And of course, whatever dialogue is going on, the running commentary is going to impact some things, unless we're like an enlightened master or something. But it's having less impact. I'm noticing it more. I'm still noticing judgments about it, which is another thing I'm working on. Judgments, comparisons, comparing myself to other people, judging other people, judging myself. So those are things I'm trying to move beyond and to let go of. But being aware of that is the first step. Now being aware of it and letting it go, not beating myself up for having a negative thought or for judging myself or someone else. Just noticing, isn't that interesting that I'm thinking that right now? So yeah, this is a long video. I'm going to wrap it up, but that's where I'm at. Happy update. Have a wonderful week. Lots of love. Namaste.